I picked up the habit of reading a few years ago. However, I ran into this dilemma, and that dilemma was not being able to recall a single thing that I read. Now, if you're anything like me and you like to read books, but have the same difficulty of being able to retain or recall that information, you are not alone. For the past couple of months, I've been working on approaching reading a different way. So far, it's really worked for me, and I've been able to retain and actually recall the information that I've read. Today, I hope to share with you some of the tips and tricks that I've picked up along this reading journey with the hopes that it will help yours as well. The first strategy is going to be this idea of previewing the book. So before you actually start reading the book and diving into the contents of it, I want you guys to ask yourself two questions. The first being, why am I reading this book? And the second being, what value do I hope to get out of this book? There are going to be two really important questions to ask yourself before starting any book, just so you have an end goal in mind. So the next strategy is going to be skimming the book. And this is also really important. A lot of people kind of skip out on skimming the book and they jump just, straight into reading the book. Skimming kind of allows you to prime your mind and get it prepared for the contents that are about to be introduced. I would recommend reading the author's notes, reading the title, reading the table of contents, and then looking and just skimming through each chapter so you can better prepare yourself for the information you're about to intake. Along with previewing the book, there is also this important strategy of time selection. Not all books should be read at the same time in the day, and this is because of your energy levels. Imagine your mental energy as a bucket with a leak in it, and this bucket is filled at the beginning of the day. And as the day goes on, this bucket is slowly being emptied out. And at the end of the day, you have no contents left in the bucket. Selecting books, it is important to consider that your mental energy is not the same. For example, if I am reading a nonfiction book, I am probably not going to read this book before bed. And that's because a lot of nonfiction books contain facts or are really content heavy and require kind of an extra level of cognitive processing versus something that is fiction, which is a little bit more entertaining and more passive read. That's something that is probably better suited for reading before bedtime. Next strategy is going to be taking notes while you're reading. I know this sounds like a lot of effort and it does make the process a little bit longer. However, you will not regret this step. I promise this will change the way you approach the book and will really improve your levels of retention and information recall. So the way I go about doing this is I actually like doing it in the method of post-it notes. So I will take post-its and actually stick it on pages to mark the page and then write down some notes of my own in my own words about what I liked about that particular chapter. And this will really help you in the long term and be able to bring all those points together and all those notes that you brought back into the book and synthesize it even further. With the strategy that I just mentioned, if you're reading from an e-reader and you're highlighting your notes and actually saving it, or if you're reading from a physical book and you're using index cards or post-it notes or even writing in the margins of the book, it's important to make this process active. Doing that, you can ask yourself questions about what you just read, or if those ideas that you just read and those facts have any connections to any other portions of the book. By making this an active process, it kind of forces you to engage with the material on a different level, and that will definitely help you with retaining and recalling information in the future. The last stage in this entire process is to take those notes that you took throughout the book and consolidate them into a single document that is easy for you to access and easy for you to edit. I like to do this by using softwares like Google Docs or using Notion, which has really made this entire process a little bit more accessible and seamless. To have all your notes consolidated into a single platform, I like to go through another step of making that information more concise and making sure that what I'm writing down is really a reflection of what I'm thinking. Now, this is really gonna help with memory and recall when you put things in your own words, almost as if you were having a conversation with yourself. This of synthesizing things in your own ideas will help you reinforce some of the information, and that will then help you with memory recall in the future. Okay, friends, I hope all of this information is helpful to you in your own reading journey and you find it a little bit easier to recall and retain some of the information that you read in books. So I hope to see you guys in my next video.